Good morning. Okay, I did mention before I don't like to make too many process videos, but I have been meaning to get back into scrapbooking. So that's what I'm doing today. This is from the Sasha Paper Collection, Prima Marketing. I really like this paper. I don't know if this is available anymore. Probably not. Maybe some of you would have it in your collection. It's the first time I ever came across this paper pad, and I got it at Value Village. So anyway, I really like the background of this one, or just the paper itself. It's busy, which is what I like about this. In this case, that's what I want it to be. I'm going to put this picture of my daughter, my youngest. This was quite some time ago. And yeah, she is very busy just exploring her world. We were at the park and we were having a picnic and took this picture. I don't know, well, maybe my husband took this one. He's actually a pretty good photographer. And I thought it would suit this because it's very nature in theme. I do have some fussy cut flowers. Whether or not I'm going to use them, I have no idea. Probably not in this instance, but I was planning on using my scraps. So I had made some confetti for something else, and this is my leftover scraps. So this is what I'm going to use. And it's going to be extra busy, so be forewarned. It might not be in everyone's tastes, but I thought in this case, I wanted everything to really be lush. So that's the idea. So that's what I'm going to do. And, it depends on what kind of feel you want. In this case, I wanted it to be very full. Usually you try to do in thirds and things like that. So I thought the idea of layering these underneath, because then, you don't have to see all of it, just part of it. And something like this, because I've already cut the letters out and everything else, most of this would be covered with the picture. So it's not overly bad. You can still use the scrap pieces of paper. So the idea is to use up what you have, basically. And it adds interest, and it's not so overwhelming that, it would be too much. So, I don't know. And there's lots of colors to pull from. Sometimes with these kinds of backgrounds, it's very difficult, I find, to coordinate things, unfortunately, and sometimes I get stuck. So you just pull the colors from the background. So there's pink in here, there is green, there's blue. So you can do all kinds of colors. She's got pink in her shorts here, so I think that would, lend itself to having a little bit more. And she is all about the pink. So a little bit of yellow peeking through. There's not a whole lot of yellow in this background. I don't think there's any really. So a little bit is okay. The green is much brighter green, but that's okay too. I'm not concerned about that. There is some orange in here. See what I mean? It's like I just save all these and I just tuck them in a bin, and then you can use them like that. That is the idea. So something like that. I don't know. At this point, I am just going to start gluing some things down. I'm not overly concerned. Glue that works would probably be very helpful. All right, glue stick it is. A lot of people will work from the top layer out, but I don't know. I'm not overly precise when it comes to scrapbooking and gluing things down. The glue will dry. So, yeah, my goal this year, well, for the next little while, is I want to use up some scraps for the very simple reason that they just end up collecting, and then you never end up doing anything with them if you're not, you know, more careful with them. And in this case, layering everything, it just, I don't know, it looks good. I like the torn papers. I like everything kind of, it still looks pretty good. If you find too that it's a bit too busy, you can do all one color. You can do very monochromatic. And you can tear pieces away if you find too much is sticking out, too much is, clashing for you. I am not a minimalist at heart. For me, it's very difficult to stay minimal. So, which is fine. I mean, sometimes just challenging yourself to something a little bit different is not necessarily a bad thing. I kind of like being able to use up my scrap pieces and, still make something pretty out of it. You could totally mount this onto just plain cardstock or whatever you wanted to. But I wanted to show the busyness of it. Kids are so busy when they're exploring their world around them. So I thought this would be kind of appropriate for this kind of page. And I normally don't, like I said before, I don't really do process pages very often. So there we go. But I still like lots of color and simplicity. So, and this is a very busy page, which is all right. There's nothing wrong with that. So, which makes it easier for me anyway to scrapbook, because everything is pretty much done for you. So if you don't know where to start, that's a good way to do it. So, oops, sorry, did not mean to move that on you. So I do have these word stickers and things like that. Not sure what to use. And, I know a lot of people will do another little cluster, which you totally could. You can absolutely do another little cluster if you wanted to. Something like up here. Like this is just a scrap piece of paper, but that would lend itself to, putting some words in there and things. Oop, you can't even see it. Sorry about that. So putting some words in there if you wanted to. You totally could. Or you could just make it part of this area. This is a natural little spot where it seems to indent. So it's a good place to sort of tuck that away. I think that would work for me. And it's a lighter pink, which is quite pretty. Just tuck that right in there. If it'll tuck in, there we go. See, sometimes it does the work for you. And it takes a lot less thinking and planning. I don't know what to put in there, actually. She's not really a baby, so I don't think it requires too much in the way of embellishments, obviously, because of the busyness of everything else. And I like the contrast between some of the brighter colors and then some of the lighter colors in the background. So it brings her forward, and then it still looks like she's in front of, some kind of landscape that is very lush and growing. These are just I just have the little things on the inside. You just have to take those out. I don't really measure things out. I probably should. Yeah, in this case, I think we'll do it the other way around. I tend to just lay things down and not worry about where they land, which is probably not the best way to be scrapbooking, but I find my pages turn out better if I don't overthink it. So I think yeah, these are the foam stickers, and I like this because it gives it a pop of black, and I think in this case this would do quite nicely for not necessarily a well, yeah, I guess it would end up being a title, so I'm just going to stick this here for now so I don't end up sticking it where I don't want it. And some of these are not so easy to remove. I find if you don't know what color to use, go black, because it's just so much emphasis on the word itself. It really, see, it just basically does it on its own. So something like that. That looks really pretty. I like that. You can add little touches of black here and there just to ground it a bit if you wanted to. Usually work in groups of 3s. You know. If you wanted to, you could always mount the photo, obviously, on some black cardstock if you really wanted to make it pop a little bit more. But I kind of like that. So I would tend to leave it at this, personally, because I think that would work. But you could totally add some other touches with some ink, because it is just black. Excuse me. And that just makes it a bit more, you know, cohesive. Because sometimes you don't have enough of one thing, so it's kind of nice to be able to add it wherever you can. It just fell off. I need one more. Maybe something that's a bit of a vine, just to add the length. Yeah, there we go. And underneath here. There. Maybe another one right here. And that just frames the whole. Everything is onto the bottom right. Everything is connected. So that looks pretty good. I could potentially put something here, but I kind of like everything just sort of being in one side. So anyway, yeah, that is my second page of the year. I don't know. I think it turned out well. So yeah, use up your scrap papers. Use up these, busy papers. Why not? And just have fun with it. I think once you challenge yourself a little bit, I think you can come up with something pretty amazing. And if you don't know what color to use black, because it'll just ground everything and it'll really keep your eye on the prize. So yeah, I had a lot of fun doing this. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!